Good evening. This is Maestro Gratella with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Garvus Ice Gate. Our first player is SamRing, playing as the Eldar Farseer, the Eldar buffing and support hero. His first teammate is Dr. Merril, playing as the Plague Champion, the Chaos healing and defense hero. And finally on the blue team is Rostam 313, playing as the Hive Tyrant, an aggressive, tanky melee hero. On the other team, to start us off, we've got BbBos, a new streamer, who is playing as the Force Commander. Tanky, Space Marine melee hero who can disrupt melee units and control things a bit. His first teammate is Ari, playing as the Commissar Lord. An interesting Imperial Guard melee hero, slightly tanky, not too much. He's also got some supporting abilities of his own. And finally, we have Micho, playing as yet another Eldar Farseer support hero. Alright then, so, to be completely honest, this is coming back a little earlier than I had originally planned, but, you know, his Dawn of War 3 announcement is a little too big to ignore, so now we're back in the saddle. Alright, here, we've got some Hormagaunts being a little too brazen there, approaching tactical marines in cover. Took a lot of damage on approach. But, you know, I think that ended up actually being a good approach anyway, because that allowed basically the rest of the units to get it. The Hormagaunts didn't get to do anything, but it kind of cleared the way for all these Termagants as well as the Heretics. However, the way these units have been engaging has not been optimal. Heretics were targeting the Force Commander, and the Termagants were targeting the Tactical Marines. If anything, it should have been the other way around. And Tyrant's actually not doing that well in that engagement. And despite that one successful push led by the Hormagaunts, overall I think this is a win for the red team. Meanwhile, on this side, it appears that Micho is doing not very well at all. I'm actually very much expecting a hero wipe on this Farseer right here. It can happen. But instead he's going for the Dire Avenger. He's not going to get the Dire Avengers, or is he? Alright, those Banshee pistols just do so little damage that they aren't able to overcome the retreat damage mitigation. And instead, the Banshees are in trouble. Yeah, I think the better play would have been to actually go for the Farseer. Wow, and Banshees, apparently now, they can go through walls. I'm sure that was not intentional. We're going to see them go through walls again. Yeah, interesting. But anyway, back here, we've got the Commissar Lord. Commissar Lord, he could have stayed in there a little bit longer, you know, maybe bled a few of the Heretic models. He did have the shield up, but you know what? Safer, he did play it safe, better safe than sorry, and probably the potential benefit of bleeding a few Heretic models was probably not worth the risk of losing the Commissar at a place where he would have not been able to be easily revived. So eventually, perhaps we'll see a revive from either Dr. Merril or Rostam. Looks like, just kidding, Dr. Merril is in that lane. Maybe he'll go for the revive after he gets the VP back. Right now, the red team has the significant VP lead, over 100, with the red team not losing a single VP tick yet, still at the full 500. Tactical Marines in cover should win pretty handily against the Termagants, but the Tactical Marines are getting at the point where they might lose a model, especially with some grenades coming in from these double grenade launcher Heretics, and a good charge from the Hive Tyrant to really break that Space Marine line. He's got to be very careful, though. There's an Imperial Guard line right behind it. He's going to go ahead, go right on into the heavy weapon squad. And I think what he needs right now, he's got to move up the rest of the... Wow! Some incredible grenade blast, nearly wiping 3 of these Guardsman squads. Very, very lucky for Ari to not lose a single one of those. If anything, the Hive Tyrant should go for one of those squads and misses that opportunity. Probably could have gotten at least one of those squads, and instead it looks like he might lose one of the Hormagaunts. But instead of losing the Hormagaunts, these Spore Mines come in for the save. I don't think he would have lost the Hormagaunts anyway. And this Force Commander has been here for a pretty long time, to be honest. The grenade launcher Heretics, they did at one point get a buff to their regular range damage from their autoguns, but definitely still not a powerful ranged squad for basic range damage. More the burst damage and area of effect damage from their grenade launchers. Meanwhile, on this side, looks like SamRing is still hurting a little bit, or he's actually doing just fine even without his Farseer. getting a few generators. He's gotten Dire Avengers that have been updated or upgraded with their Exarchs. And overall, the blue team actually now looking pretty strong after that early VP lead from the red team. The red team, even. The blue team is now kind of clawing back. They were up in both lanes. SamRing did make the kind of smart play of he bashed some generators and then he moved back to really mitigate his losses as well as kind of maintain his dominance in this bottom lane. Sometimes people will go for a generator bash like in a lane, and they'll get the generator bash, which is of course good for them, but they'll kind of press their luck too much and approach too much, and eventually they'll have to retreat, and that will allow their opponent to push back and possibly even get a generator bash of their own. We've got two squads of infiltrated scouts getting two successful grenades with no response, no reaction really from Rostam there. I mean, they were infiltrated. He did have something like a second to respond. There are certainly players who will be ready with that. Havoc right here from Dr. Merril is suppressing a lot of this advance, but we had a good unit split from BbBos coming around with the scout squad to flank. He is going to now have to respect the Hive Tyrant, or at least one of his units are. So he's actually going for the melee with the force melee from the scouts on the Havocs. Kind of just ensure that the Havocs won't be able to suppress, because if they can turn around and set up again and suppress, that gives the blue team kind of back the control that they are currently losing. But the Brood Nest definitely to go down, so again, a solid push back from the red team. And of course, this game's a lot about that push and pull. You push forward at some point, your opponent is going to push you back, unless they don't, in which case you won the game early. We've got now a Ravener Brood out from Rostam. Interesting purchase, I think, considering, I don't know, I don't feel like it's the strongest purchase he could make. The main thing he's going to counter would be the heavy weapon squad from Durari. But he's got a lot of range fire to worry about from the red team. This does not look like it's going to be a successful approach by the blue team. Hive Tyrant should go down, and in fact he does. With the Ravagers unfortunately not doing very well at all. Yeah, alright. The red team definitely going to hold their ground for a little while. I think this bunker is going to basically secure this top lane for the red team pretty much until Tier 2. And until we get some kind of Tier 2 unit out from Dr. Merril and Rostam. Something that can really break the bunker and force the heavy weapon team out of it. Yeah, heavy losses, Dr. Merril losing his Havoc, and that's pretty big. The Havoc is pretty important. Like, I feel like obviously all suppression teams have their control roles. They just have that role as control, but I do feel like Chaos relies on that a little bit more. They especially used to rely on it more back when the Havoc had that instant suppression. They don't quite have that anymore, but I still think that control is very, very important. We're starting to see some Tier 2 upgrades. In particular, we've got plasma guns on a guardsman squad from Durari. It looks like only one squad with plasma guns so far. That's not a hugely important purchase at this point, I think. But, you know, it's probably not bad to have at least one, because it will significantly increase his damage against this Chaos Space Marine squad. So at least that one guardsman squad will be putting a lot of hurt on this one squad of Chaos Space Marines. Generally, though, Dr. Merril and Rostam actually have very little heavy infantry armor, with really that Chaos Space Marine squad being the only one. Commissar Lord looks like he will get out of there. Close call, but he will get out of there, or will he? Again, very close call, but again, here's that bunker, and currently, really, Dr. Merril and Rostam, I don't think they're going to be able to break it. The Heretics, technically with their grenade launchers, that is a counter to a Imperial Guard, to a bunker. Basically, it will do anti-garrison damage. But there's also that, which I forgot about. We do have a Plague Cloud, and the heavy weapon team needs to respect that. The heavy weapon team is going to die. And oh no, wow, get out just in time to reinforce, and that's enough to survive. And that's actually a very good way for basically the Imperial Guard to hold it. Unfortunately, he's setting up, he wants to put the heavy weapon team back in the bunker. I was going to say he needs to just set up, and he eventually decided to actually just put it back in the bunker, which that actually is ultimately the better play. I wanted him to just set it up on the ground. But otherwise, yeah, this is still going to be the line held by the Guard, which is kind of almost like the canonical and lore thing for them to do. They really held the ground there, so red team holding the ground pretty well. Meanwhile, it's been a while since we visited this Eldarmere in the bottom lane. We've got a Falcon from Micho, and a very different build from SamRing. He had a kind of a longer tier 1 build, or maybe he just didn't lose as many units. He does have that Guardian weapon team, which is kind of just hanging back here. The 2 Dire Avengers. Now they do have their Dire Avenger, their aspect of Avenger, so they are tossing some grenades. We do have the Webway Gate bringing in some Wraithguard, but the Wraithguard going to be very easily tied up by the Banshees, as well as the Farseer, who has gotten the Doombringer and the Spirit Stones to heal up the Banshees. Oh my god, this has ended up being a terrible engagement for Micho. He's really just got to try to mitigate his losses, but he lost the Falcon. Oh my god, so that was a huge loss for him. He's just dropping the micro right now and going to lose the Dire Avenger as well. Micho literally has nothing. Oh my god. Alright, so SamRing dominating this Eldarmere in the bottom. I'd say SamRing dominating the Eldarmere in the bottom, but that's kind of countered by the fact that the red team is very solidly holding the line on top. Ari now with a Manticore out on the field. Manticore, kind of one of the things that definitely makes people angry. It always hurts to get hit by a Manticore strike, but at the same time, I feel like, at least from a watching perspective, Manticore strikes are always interesting. It's like, where will the Manticore strike go down and how much damage will it do? So this is going to be a long game, and I think right now what's keeping this to be basically an even game is how well SamRing is doing in this bottom lane. He's actually dominating it completely. Like, he is winning soundly, and Micho cannot fight back. There's nothing he can do right now. But if anything, but there's the Manticore strike. Where is it going to go down? It is not actually going to hit much. All right, get a nice hit on the Venom Brood. Only takes 1 model, but a significant amount of health. So Dr. Merril and Rostam haven't really found a way to break this bunker yet. And I mean, bunkers used well are very, very powerful. All right, oh my god. Khorne Chaos Space Marines right here will win against the Commissar. Commissar should activate Lead by Example to try to knock them over. He is going to go down. Yeah, he's definitely going to go down. Tzeentch, I keep wanting to say Tzeentch. Khorne Chaos Space Marines are very powerful as chasers. They've always been a tough unit to justify because the Chaos composition typically demands that the Chaos Space Marines are your ranged unit. Turning them into melee unit makes it a little harder on your composition, but they do have their uses. Scouts coming out of infiltration. Looks like they did a decent amount of... No, they actually didn't do a decent amount of damage. So those infiltrated scouts, unfortunately, did not really make a great play there. Tried to take advantage of their infiltration, but were ultimately just outgunned. Force Commander will have to move back out here, teleport out to save himself. Yeah, otherwise, if he had not teleported out of there, he probably would have died. Might even die anyway. I don't think so. Farseer not able to chase her down. Farseer at level 4 right now, fully kitted out. Got the Rune Armor, Spirit Stones, and the Doombringer. We did, of course, see that weapon, that accessory already. So the action has now moved into the middle with the Hive Tyrant capturing a contested power farm. So they'll actually be able to get that power that they probably didn't even pay for. Alright, Dr. Merril has invested in a Blastmaster Noise Marine, and what he needs to start doing is he has them in range to start hitting the bunker. And he needs to start attacking ground basically right at the bunker, and he's going to do it. Very nice. That will start destroying the bunker, and a Zoanthrope as well. Alright, so that bunker at this point should go down. Are we going to see the reaction? We will not see the reaction in time from Ari to save his heavy weapon team. If a building gets destroyed and all of your units are inside of it, or if a unit is inside of it, it will get wiped even from full health. Another shot from the Blastmaster Noise Marines goes off, takes about half health out of one of the Guardsman squads. We also have the Plasma Devastator, the kind of the counterpart to that Blastmaster Noise Marine on the other side. We have some Echoing Scouts who are extremely loud in their infiltrations. I actually feel there have been times where you in the past, I've known that infiltrated scouts were coming because they shout that out. They say, "See, but do not be seen," and you can actually hear them. But anyway, VP lead is in favor of the red team, but the blue team making some pretty good plays at the moment. We might see this Force Commander go down. Banshee's not quite the chasers that they used to be, but still definitely nothing to... You gotta be careful, pretty much. You still gotta be careful. Banshees are a lethal unit. They always have been, and I don't think they'll ever be changed so that they won't be. They were just, at some point, made to be a little less ridiculous, because they used to be able to chase you across the map and kill you. It was absolutely ridiculous. So Dreadnought here, unfortunately, going to go down for BbBos. Took on an entire army, pretty much completely unsupported. We already have a rocket run. That rocket run probably going to wipe some squads. I don't think it actually wiped a squad. The placement on that rocket run wasn't great. The first run hit well enough. The second run was a little off, and I personally, I have my own personal opinion about how the rocket run should be used, which I think most people don't do themselves. But I know some people try to do some fancy things where they'll do crisscross rocket runs. I think it's actually better for them both to go in the same direction. And I think the correct direction is to actually make it so the rocket runs come toward you. So you're pushing the enemy units toward you, so that you have more opportunity for a follow-up after the rocket run to really ensure those squad wipes. But anyway, these ranged infantry squads right here do not stand a chance against this powerful melee coming out of the Khorne Chaos Space Marines as well as the Blood Crusher. Blood Crusher does need to be careful though. It's starting to overextend. Taking some minor damage from the Dark Reapers. Needs to be very careful, but we're seeing some counterplay from the Heretics. They might want to start lobbing some grenades to disrupt the Dark Reapers, but instead we're just going to have to tie up from the Blood Crusher to scare those Dark Reapers off. And right now, Havoc's right here, again with that control, very, very important. Things are going on over here as well, and something is going to die. We actually have a Seer Council squad out from SamRing. I think SamRing, aside from... I think he had like a tough early engagement, but ever since then he seems to be doing fine. Again, particularly against Micho, who now has an interesting build of triple Dark Reapers, which is a pretty high range DPS build. Not the most flexible build, of course, since he's just getting one of one squad, or 3 of 1 squad. The Dark Reapers are a multi-purpose squad. They can do a lot of things, but no unit can do everything. At least, well, some people might debate that. Anyway. We have more of a range build now from Rostam. He's actually got a build that you would normally more see with like a Ravener Alpha player. He's got a ranged heavy build. He's got the Termagants upgraded. He's got the Venom Brood with the ranged Synapse, as well as the Devourer Ravener. That's such a hard word to say. He's even gone for a ranged Hive Tyrant with the Venom Cannon. Now, this Terminator called down Terminators. At the moment, they are a little unsupported. There will probably be at least 1 model lost on these Terminators, a little overextended, but he's got the support from the Force Commander, so he's at least able to... oh, he manages to get a Zone Thrope with that aggressive Terminator play, so I was thinking he needed to back off. But he actually went for the aggressive play, and it was risky. Teleporting your Terminators forward is incredibly risky, but in that case, it was the right play. He moved up his units to support, was able to bring up enough support that he was able to win the engagement, and then use the teleport of the Terminators to make a big play and get rid of one of the Zone Thropes. Alright, Imperial Guard not looking like they're winning in this lane. Really getting doubled here by Chaos as well as some Eldar. This tank cannot afford to just stay. It really just needs to keep driving back. Like it does not want to stop. It's getting hit by some Fire Dragon fire, and even though the Fire Dragons aren't terribly powerful and the Leman Russ is very durable, really just there was no way it was winning that. And the best thing it had to do was just back off. Now would actually be a good time to move it back forward. But we've got a few units dying. We have a beautiful orbital bombardment. Catching a few squads. Only one of the beams is actually hitting, but some grenades as well. That's such an incredibly powerful play. That ended up being incredibly powerful. Very, very big nuke. And, you know, I feel like I actually haven't seen that often. The follow-up with the grenades on top of the nuke was absolutely brilliant. That was a very smart thing to do. And the funny thing is, a lot of the nukes, or some of the nukes, I don't want to say all of them, some of the nukes are not really that powerful by themselves, but there's a lot of combo potential. Because you actually get some sort of almost crowd control, to like borrow a MOBA term, in that, especially with the orbital bombardment, once they're caught by the beam, they're locked in there, and you can add on more damage right on top of that, because they are just stuck there. We're going to see a plasma cannon shot go in. Plasma cannons, I believe they're even buffed by for the Emperor global buff from the Force Commander. So doing quite a bit of damage. But the Raveners jump in. Raveners, though, jumping in under strength. The Tactical Marines should actually force melee, and they should be able to win against these Raveners. BbBos finally does realize what's going on. I think Tactical Marine Retreat was... Okay, it actually makes a little bit more sense now with all of these units approaching. Here is the Eldritch Storm! And, oh my god, that is the end of some Guardian squads, the end of a tank. And if we have some follow-up from these Eldar units right here, it will be the end of a few more squads. If there is no follow-up... Alright, one of those squads is going to go down. So one squad down, and it looks like this one's going to get out of there alive. This is a level 4 Guardian squad. I wouldn't be surprised if the other one was as well. We're seeing some good nukes at it in this game. And nukes, as powerful as they are, there are so many times when, in a game, we'll see a nuke that's honestly wasted. And, I mean, it happens. Using a nuke well is a skill. And it's not like just using a nuke is an automatic win. Anyway, Farseer here in a fight that she cannot win. This is a completely unupgraded Farseer from Micho. Don't know entirely. Never mind. I'm going to hold that thought. But anyway. We have another Eldritch! Oh my god, beautiful! Alright, this one does not look like it was quite going to have the same impact as the other one, or will it? Terminator's going to get out of there alive. We even have, looks like a squad of heretics was wiped, possibly in that engagement. I can't target this. Yeah, alright. So one squad of heretics gone. Dr. Merril has really been kind of struggling a little bit to keep basically to keep a sizable army alive. He's generally been a little under strength. Rostam has generally had the biggest roster, and SamRing he's kept a pretty consistent roster ever since his Fire Dragons. Most of SamRing's squads are level 4. We see the heavy flamer on the Terminator squad. You know, I feel like it's not a very common purchase. It hasn't been generally. It does have some very specific uses. You actually get some crazy area of effect damage. If these Terminators do not have a teleport, they are in a lot of trouble. In fact, they are probably dead. It's even worth it to trade the Chaos Space Marines for the Terminators, and they don't even need to trade. They can retreat now. Hopefully keep... Alright, he's going to keep them in there. Might lose another model at this point, or he's just going to keep bleeding Tactical Marine models. At some point, though, he does have to worry about these scouts. Wow. Alright, so lost 2 of the Chaos Space Marine models. Not enough energy, I think, for a grenade. Now definitely enough energy. I forget whether it's 50 or 60 energy, but doesn't react in time to throw a grenade either. Ooh, Terminator's playing a dangerous game there. I just saw them teleport away, and now they have to... Alright, they will get out of there alive. VP's now actually pretty even after just a lot of things have happened. 129 to 173 with the red team actually going to get the double cap, so it'll start taking down in their favor. We've got some blue team heroes sitting on the ground. SamRing, his level 4 Farseer, has kind of been sitting here for a while. I think he's prioritizing getting out some kind of big tier 3 purchase before getting his Farseer back. And that big tier 3 purchase is another squad of Seer Council. He definitely had one before. So he must have lost it, which is a little disappointing. Seer Council being quite a bit tougher than Banshees, so it should be a little easier to keep them alive, but because they are so powerful, there is also the, I guess, the tendency or the inclination to really push them hard, use them for a big play, to like try to hopefully win the game or like wipe squads. Micho finally has a unit that is not a Dark Reaper squad. He decided to get a Dire Avenger squad. I'm actually not sure why the late game Dire Avengers, unless he was also planning to get a vehicle. But we actually have some late game generator bashing here from SamRing. The late game generator bashing not as useful for the power disruption, although it actually looks like the red team is not doing that well on power. So maybe for them, the red team, that late game power disruption actually will be a good thing for the blue team. Normally, though, the best thing from doing the late game power destruction is just generating the extra red, trying to work toward, honestly, usually another nuke, or even just more red for other globals. Oh my god, we have SamRing, unfortunately, completely lost a Dire Avenger squad. I'm sure he had his attention somewhere else, probably around here, because he just completely missed his Dire Avengers getting absolutely destroyed by the combination of the Casterkins, the Stormtroopers, and this Guardsman squad, level 4 Guardsman squad. I mean, the combination of these 3 squads, that is a very large amount of range DPS. Oh no, friendly fire from the Blastmaster going to do a lot of damage, but we have another rocket run. I don't think it actually caught that much. I don't feel like there are actually that many things in the rocket run's path. But still definitely... Actually, I don't know what that did. Alright. So, blue team, although they had a good engagement there, they are kind of on the back foot of VP's 64 now. Last I checked in, they had 129. Alright, I don't think the Eldar right here are really going to be able to make their approach. Plague Champion right here, not quite being microed, so he's just firing his plasma pistol in range stance, which, I mean, does some damage, but the fist is going to do more. But yeah, these Eldar, unfortunately, not going to be able to get the job done here. I think they just need to retreat, mitigate their losses. Even considering how urgent it is for them to get VPs, they are just not going to win that particular engagement. And the Plague Champion goes down as well. So, unfortunately, we're kind of just seeing some dropped micro from our blue team players. Eldar coming out of webway gates, bashing more generators, keep the red team power starved. The red team, they're not doing that great on power, and wow, kind of just the approach there from the Tyranids, the Venom Brood, as well as that flank from that invisible Lictor, this tier 3 Lictor. Wow, level 1, and oh, it was getting the health benefit from, must have been from the improved synapse from the Hive Tyrant, because I was thinking 1,500 hit points for level 1 Lictor does not sound right. I know I haven't played in a while, but I definitely knew that. And it wasn't like a solid even number either. It was 1,562, I think. Alright, blue team in a lot of trouble right now. At this point, it's do or die. I'm guessing it's going to be a die. You know what? This is actually looking like game. I'm not seeing how they can get it in time. And yeah, this is definitely going to have to be game. In favor of the red team. Unless I'm wrong. I have been wrong before. We're going to see that. Alright, they're going to get the decap just in time. Oh my god, just in time. So close. 3 VPs left, but they literally can't afford to... Alright, the Imperial Abyss as well. I think I saw the indicator. No, I didn't. So that was just an indicator for some Terminators, but we did see the Tyrant formation go down. You know what? Blue team trying hard just to get the VP back. I think their priority is actually simply winning the engagement. Not necessarily getting that VP up, as long as they have it evened out at a 1-to-1. They're still in this game, but we see an Eldritch Storm. Wow, I think it wiped out a squad. It wiped out the Casterkins of all things and the Stormtroopers. Red team starting to get this cap back, but I don't think they can get it back there with the Carnifex in their face. Carnifex wiping out squads. BbBos just lost a lot of stuff, and I think the others lost some things as well. We're going to see a Warrior call in from Rostam. I think Rostam's got a lot of units, and the blue team looking like they might be able to make this back. That was definitely a wasted Warrior call in, though. They were walking right into some extremely powerful range fire that countered their heavy infantry armor. And I don't know if it's just me, but that cannon almost looks a little different from what I'm used to. I feel like it's looked different, but I don't know. Maybe it's just been so long that I just don't remember things correctly. VP still evened out at 1-to-1. 3 for the blue team, 173 for the red team, a 173-point lead. With the red team looking a little thin on their armies. Micho strapped economically. Durari can put out maybe one more squad. And BbBos can put out something. And now it's actually a no-cap game. We've seen VPs decapped all around. And of course, if the red team had gotten the decap and the blue team hadn't, that would have also been the end of the game. But now we actually have the single cap from the blue team. Single cap from the blue team, Avatar of Cain coming out from SamRing. Now, I think Avatar of Cain is, at this point in the game, a very, very risky play from SamRing. High risk, high reward. Risky because it's going to take a while to put that Avatar out on the field. He could have bought a cheaper unit, and it would have much sooner given him something that would be able to have some kind of impact. Alright, Terminators here from the red team, looking for a decap on the blue team, but I think we're going to have another decap, and that will be the end of the game there. Alright, I was wondering if the blue team was going to make it back into the game, but the red team were able to seal the deal just with the capping game at the end. Alright then, that's the end of the first cast in a while. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.